So please join me in welcoming Congressman Kevin Yoder to mission.
Thank you, Mayor. Okay, and then last thing I want to talk about is just do sort of a little quick PowerPoint on spending. And I just want to share a few slides with you, just so we're sort of all on the same page on a few things. And so if I can... Okay. So just so we're all on the same page, when we talk about spending, when I'm on appropriations, and when we have a discussion about what the choices are before us, it's helpful to at least look at the pie. And I will say many folks haven't had a chance to look at these things. I'm sure a lot of folks who even run your office haven't had a chance to get there. But you have really sort of three different segments of the federal budget. You have these two segments over here. You have non-defense discretionary spending, and you have defense spending. Those two items you see that equate to maybe $1.3 trillion, give or take. And then you have this portion of the pie, which includes Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, interest, and other things.
So these are deficits we've been running by year since 1990, so you can get a perspective on the actual deficits we run each year. So you can see in 1990 through about 96, we were running deficits between the 2 and 400 million range. We ran surpluses from 98, 99 to 2000, and then 2002 to 2007, we continued to run deficits. And then the last 3 years, we've run the biggest deficits in U.S. history. And so the helpful part of this conversation is to try to.
You're going to spend a portion of your day sending money to China or to other countries to service the debt on other spending, which means instead of building schools or roads or paying for Head Start or doing research here, we're going to do those things in other countries because we're going to be sending them money. It's going to be the largest transfer of wealth out of the United States and the rich in this country, and it's all the time. So that comes up a lot in the conversation. And
where are the jobs for tax?
The facts are, and then we'll have a chance for folks to give their intelligent rebuttals. The facts are that for the President's proposal to tax big oil generates $20 billion over 10 years. It's $2 billion a year. Now we're talking about $1.6 trillion. Okay? So we're talking about $1.6 trillion. And I promise if everybody will wait, everybody can have a chance to give a common response. Like, I understand there's two sides to this debate. So $2 billion. And then the proposal to raise taxes on the upper 1%. Let the tax cut expire for that portion. Raises $60 billion a year, or $600 billion over 10 years. So what you end up having is a situation where you cannot raise taxes enough. 86%, and the top 50% of taxpayers pay 97% of the tax burden in the country.
What's the source?
We can get your source on that. So government spending is a percentage of GDP. So you have historical. This is the historical path of government spending as a percentage of GDP. And then your current pathway we're on here will take us to a point where we're about a percentage of 50% of GDP at this point. By making reductions in spending, we can keep our spending as a percentage of GDP as a historical average. Regardless of where we are in taxes, you cannot spend money at that rate.
Taxes as a percentage of GDP? How much is it? I don't think it was Q&A. There was an appropriation vote just last
So the Medicare issue is one that has come up a lot. It's been part of a lot of the discussion. We have two choices on Medicare. And I understand there's people on both sides. I want to talk about the different sides, what I believe to be the correct path, and then I'm sure someone can articulate the other side. First of all, the path that we're on is if you're 55 or above, there's no changes to Medicare. So how many folks in the room are 55 and above? Okay. So if you're 55 and above, no changes to Medicare. no disruptions, and you preserve and protect Medicare. The system of health insurance similar to what I have, similar to what members of Congress have, similar to what federal employees have. Wealthy get less, sick and low income get more support, so this means the president's plan uses rationing board for benefit provider cuts. It imposes nearly 10,000 cut per senior, does not save Medicare, because the president's plan to handle these Medicare proposals is to have a 15-person board that will essentially tell doctors or tell hospitals that they're going to pay less, and they're going to ration care. And so the challenge is can you find a way to save Medicare, for particularly the seniors that are on it right now, and preserve for generations going forward, and avoid Medicare going bankrupt. And so that's the real challenge, the real debate in this country. The good thing is that we are having a very healthy debate about this in Washington. The president has a proposal, the House has a proposal, members of Congress are frequently meeting with the president so that we can come together as a country and try to solve this problem, because nobody wins if both sides sit in their tents and tell the other side that they're completely wrong. And so that's my goal, is to try to find ways in which we can discuss these issues. I know there are other sides of this debate, and we have this gentleman over here.
Hi. Here's my concern. I was born and raised as a Christian, and my Jesus says, you heal the sick, you feed the hungry, and when you do this to the least of them, you're doing it to me. And yet, what we've seen from the Ryan bill is something that, from the budget that he's proposed, is something that's not going to do any of that. And it will hurt Medicare folks like me who are going to be headed toward Medicare. And it's going to be giving vouchers. Excuse me, I lost my job 2.5 years ago. I lost my health insurance.
And that was his principle in the statement. So I think there's a chance there where the parties could come together and figure out a way to do tax reform. And that's a real opportunity, I think, for us to actually get something done. And that's the whole thing, is we've got to get something done in Washington. And that means we're going to have to give and take. We're going to have to work together. So I think that's one where the parties can work together. The Medicare plan is a little different than what you described, and I understand that there may be frustration with whatever it is, but the plan doesn't give you a voucher and send you out to the private market. It puts you in a similar situation that what federal employees have, which is when there are 4 or 5 or 6 different plans, or maybe more, you could choose from, and you receive premium assistance to go into one of those plans. You will get a plan. You're required to have. They're going to be required. Those will offer a plan. If you have a pre-existing condition, or you pay, or you have your lower income, then you'll have more premium assistance. It's a means-tested plan where the poor pay less, the richer pay more. But I do agree with you. I think we have to figure out a way to preserve Medicare. I think we have to figure out a way to.
I would much rather have a business that's flourishing, but it can't flourish in this economy. In my mind, I think it really make a difference if government can get out of the business of running everything. Thank you. It means that we really have government doing, this benefit. I need government out of our lives so that people can earn money.
Yes, sir. Hi.
Ladies and gentlemen, first off, let's go forward. From this time on, let's go forward. Let's quit talking about the past. Okay, first off, this is about the OPEC oil embargo of 19. Okay, but I mean, I know we'll never see 26 cents a gallon. But the thing is, Reader's Digest did this really interesting thing on a $3 gallon gas in 2008. Now, what it is comes down to this: is we just need to be able to, outside countries like foreign oil are not affecting us due to some skirmish in another country. We need to.
We were talking about energy and the dire need for it and costs associated with it. And I know that it has been a mantra of certain sectors of our society that drill, baby, drill. And as I listen to that, and as we drill each barrel and remove it from the soil, how is this today? How is this going to help our great-grandchildren a few generations away?
And that's why, sir, I think we need an all-of-the-above approach. We have to continue to develop wind energy, alternate sources of energy, but we also have to continue to utilize the domestic source of energy we have. It's almost like a balance in all these things. You've got to do what we do, have some focus on how we create jobs and how we build the country, build things today. But you are right, we have to keep an idea of where's this country going to be in 100 years, not only from the debt, which I've talked extensively about, but from energy, where we want to be, what's the environment going to be like, and I think those are all factors that we have to take in. I think it's a very real concern that many of us share. We might not all agree on what the best way is to get there, but I think that if we don't keep that in perspective and just think about today, that we'll make it easy.
Now, let me ask you, why do you expect us to see anything that's staying here and today?
But the goal of both parties is to figure out a way to preserve Medicare and try to balance the budget.
You're saying that you're not taking radical cuts for the Paul Ryan bill.
No, we're preserving the spending on Medicare. The plan goes bankrupt. The plan goes bankrupt without this. Yes, ma'am.
Comment before about
Thanks for sharing your opinion. I've actually
Current legislation in D.C. to curb repeal the EPA regulations described in Chris Horner's book, Power Grab, and his former book, Red Hot Lies, that tells of Al Gore's fraudulent COVID
Well, there is a very healthy debate about that right now. We've had those votes on the floor. Many businesses, many folks in this country are very challenged by the idea that unelected, unaccountable folks in the bureaucracy can make decisions inconsistent with what Congress's original intent was. It creates a whole new set of instability for small business owners and drives up the cost of doing business. So I think what EPA does, we've got a healthy debate about it. But thank you all so very much. We heard from many of you. We heard from many of you. This is a very important part of democracy. Thank you for sharing your opinion on both sides. I truly value it.
See you later, Katya.
Like you, who want to put everybody else, oh, this young man, this young man is so much brighter than Dennis Moore. Dennis Moore, I don't want to listen to your heart. You cannot tell me anything that I haven't been. Have you been a deacon of a church? No, you haven't. You can't even spell deacon. God bless you. Get out of here. Did you record this? Did you get this lady? Oh my God, I can't believe it. Oh my God, listen to you. Have me worked up and I've had open heart surgery. My God, you try to tell me your 37-year-old daughter and I'm taking food off of her plate? My God.
Say that.
Goodness sakes.
I'm on Social Security. I work for
Thank you, sir. You're doing that. Yeah, thank you.
Being used all this stuff. My God. Oh, thanks. Yeah. Like I. 15 minutes before you ever let anybody ask a question. That was very, very rude. Oh.
Thank you for being here.